Welcome to our Lunch and Learn here on October 3rd. We're going to be talking about differentiation and using some EdTech tools to do that. Um, we've got kind of using an article from ASCD as our basis here. We know that the four elements of differentiated instruction is content. We can differentiate the content, the process, the product, and the learning environment. So we're going to dig into each of those and kind of demonstrate some tools that go along with that. So I'm Christy Johnson, and I'm joined here with Brady Dalton as well. And so we are both going to kind of take some turns talking through some tools. It's going to be a little, I
Yeah.
don't want to say rapid fire, but it is going to be just some quick looks at some tools and specifically how we can use them for these specific purposes. I love this little graphic here from this article from ASCD about what differentiation is and is not. Sometimes it gets a little bit of a bad rap when we think about it because some people feel like it's extra to do or more to do, and really it's just about
Right.
doing things in different ways. So we'll come back to content to let Brady talk about Diffit and Brisk in just a second, because those are all about how we can take the same content and ensure that students can access it through making some adjustments. So I'm going to jump into the process part. And what this is referring to is sometimes we need to change how the medium that is used for students to access something, the different learning, kind of address their learning styles or provide more like a varied way for them to access the information. So maybe they need a video or an audio, maybe they need graphics, maybe they need some other kind of interaction with the material. Now, I'm going to talk about discovery education, but I do want to make sure I kind of make it clear, not all of our school districts have discovery education, but it's a tool that has this built in. So I do want to show it. Um, the same kind of idea can be mimicked by using something like Canva or Google Slides, but I'm going to pull up an example of what they call their studio boards. And I think I already have it pulled up. So let's see. Okay, it's going to pull up though. They're studio boards. So I'm going to view it as a student here. Are y'all seeing my screen?
Mhm.
Yes. Okay. I don't have my little green box around it, and it makes me nervous for a second there. That's okay. All right. So this is a studio board. And like I said, when you're thinking about differentiating for process, you're thinking about giving students access to different ways to take in the information. So we have text, but we also have a video built in. We have an interactive that students can actually go in and drag these things around when they click on it. They can actually, and this would be a student version of it. This is going to show the teacher version of it because I'm in my account, but they can actually click on different parts of the water cycle and they can, put the things in different places. They can use a Z chart to summarize their learning. They can read a passage, use sentence stems. So look at all the different ways a student can process the information about the water cycle, all built into one board or one document. And Discovery Education makes it super easy. You can search for just about any, watch me not be logged in now. No, I still am, thank goodness. You can search for any topic here. So, if you were doing geometry, you could look for, boards that fit that as well. You could use these quizzes, you could use all these different activities as you built a board. And then sometimes they have their own boards already built for you. It just depends on the content area. Lots of searching to do here, but you can limit that down and do into activities as well. And then you can find some of those particular ones. So here's a board, here's a board, here's a board. So those are the kinds of things that you would do. Like I said, you could mimic that exact same thing on your own by using like a Google slideshow or a Canvas slideshow and embed videos, embed quizzes, embed manipulatives into that and get the same thing. But the goal again is just to give students as many ways as possible to process that information so that whatever works best for them and their little brains will be the method that they go to here. All right, Brady, you want to try sharing and come back to
Yeah, let's,
content?
let's let's give it a go.
Okay,
All right, share. Yeah.
take over.
Yeah.
Cross your
All right.
fingers.
Can we see?
Yes, I'm seeing the screen. So,
Okay, perfect. Let's go to mine. So we're gonna do Diffit real quick. And I'm in Diffit. You can pull up books and PDFs, but we're gonna just do literally anything. And so because Digital Citizenship Week is coming up in a couple of weeks, I thought we use that as our topic. And so once we're in there, I can pick my grade level. my language, and I can align to standards. If you pay for it, I will show new teachers. So if you're a first year teacher, how to get it for free. But for the rest of us, we're just going to leave that one alone. And then we're going to go ahead and click generate resources. And so this is going to be a really great place where you're not creating just one lesson. It's going to create kind of an entire group of resources for a topic. So if we put in digital resources, it can give a lot more than just one example, one resource. And so once it does from the get-go, you will get a reading passage. Everything you see here is editable. And so I can choose whether I want there to be names and dates here. I can choose if I like this image. I can change that image out if I want to. I can load more, or I can upload my own. But even right here, where we can accommodate our other students for this, right here in this reading level, I can change the reading length. So if I need it to be longer or shorter, I can do that. Right here, when you change these, one thing you can do is maybe open up another Google Doc or another resource, and I can just copy these things out. So for really quick changes, I can go in here and go reading length. I want this one to be longer. Update the reading length. Great. So now I can copy that one and throw that one into Google Doc. Okay, but I've got another student who needs it to be shorter. Okay, cool. Let's go short. Let's copy that one and put that one in a Google Doc. So that's a really quick way to kind of pull back and forth and accommodate other students for what their needs are right there in each one. I can modify the reading. So I can add more writing, more vocabulary words. I can add in vocabulary words if there's specific things that I need our kids to see. Maybe it's a term that we know some of our students might be struggling with. We can make sure we throw that in there with those definitions as well. And then we can also change the activity. Now, again, this is where our free and pay things come into play. If you see that crown, that is one of the premiums. So scroll down, you can see other activities that are free as well. But beyond that, we can go down to vocabulary. And just like I said in the earlier one, I can add vocab there, but also I can modify that. So I can increase or decrease the complexity of it. Just again, we're trying to accommodate our students and make that easier for them. And again, I can change that activity as well. But going back to what I said earlier, copying, pasting these, if you want to do just specific ones, you can. Or you can say, hey, I love all of them, download them all. I'm going to use them all. But if you want to do quick changes, you can just copy that one, throw it into Google Doc, copy another version, throw it into Google Doc, and just have those in there for our students. Scrolling down, we do have short answers. And in these as well, I can click those settings and I can show answers as well. So it's really important because this is the AI generated that we go in, check those answers, make sure they're the ones that we think are the right ones before we give that to our students. But again, just like the ones above, I can accommodate other students by changing in the levels and the intensity of each question. We can go down and have short answer questions as well. Same rules apply there. And this down here is going to be a premium feature that you might not see if you use it, the think, pair, share. If you like that and you want to talk to your district about adding that in and maybe looking into pricing on that, you absolutely could. But once you're done, I've done all that copy and pasting, and that's only if you're wanting to change it each time on each section of that. If I like the rigor on each one, I like where it's at, I can go ahead and download those and put those into Google Classroom or share it wherever I prefer. But that would be changing each one. Now, if I want to, I can go up to the very top and say, hey, I want an entire level that's on fifth grade, but I also need all this entire thing on a second grade. Maybe I have some students who are on a second grade reading level in the same classroom. We want them to work on the exact same assignment, feel like they're part of the classroom doing the exact same assignments. Then I can just go up here and click fifth grade, change it to second grade, generate. But what's good about this is that didn't just change that and now it's a different one. It actually makes a copy of it. So when I go back into my resources, it's going to have my fifth grade and my second grade. So they're both right there. I didn't have to, oh no, I have to make it and get back and go back and forth. No, I can go back to my resources on the left. And there they are. There's my two different versions, the exact same assignment. I've got fifth grade and a second grade ready to go. So I think that's a great resource to kind of just get that really quickly done. It is down the line, the exact same assignment. We're just accommodating to different levels. And our next one, well, before I show you the next one, if you are a first year teacher or you have some first year teachers, or maybe you're a mentor teacher and you want to give them a little extra boost right here on this link right here, if you fill that out, if you're a first year teacher, you'll get premium access for the entire school year. So you can kind of be excited about that, hang it over the heads of your co-teachers who don't have all the fun resources and say, you know what, I'm a newbie, I needed the help. So you can do that as well. In Brisk, it's a fun activity. And what I chose to do, and my favorite thing in Brisk, or one of my favorites, is changing reading levels. And so you can do this anywhere you play with Brisk. If you don't know Brisk, It's an extension that will play in Drive, Docs, Sheets, Slides, websites, PDFs. Pretty much if you're using it on the internet, you probably have a brisk ability to use it. And so what I did was I was thinking about, I like to use it in the context of news articles. So how can we take really hard things for kids to understand? Maybe they're hearing things in the news, they're overhearing things, they don't understand what it is. How can we bring it down to their level? So the government shutdown. I figured that's a great one. And so I pulled up a document. I chose to go to the White House because I didn't want to pick a specific news source. I don't want to pick one and know who would, didn't want to play that game. So I went right to the White House. And so it had this document saying what are the economic consequences of the government shutdown. That's a heavy topic. That's a hard topic. Most kids won't understand exactly what all that has entail, but it is a PDF that's embedded right here. And because it is, there's Brisk button right there. So I can click that, and that will only show up if you have Brisk installed. So if you don't know how to use that, reach out to us, and we can definitely show you how to do it. But it's great. I can click Brisk, and then I can change the level. So once you click this button, it's going to assume, it's going to kind of scan that document and assume the grade level. I've already done this one, so don't assume that that's actually what that was. That's because I've already played with it a little bit. But I can say I do want it to be fifth grade. Let's say I have a fifth grade class. We're going to talk about what this government shutdown means. I can click that. I can choose my language, and now you can choose the output. If you are a Microsoft, you can change it to Microsoft as well. And then I can click change reading level. And what this will do, it's going to open up another Google Doc, and then it's going to embed the original document. So this would be really great if you maybe were not maybe fifth grade, but maybe like seventh or eighth grade, where you want them to actually reference the original document and kind of compare and contrast those two things. That can let them go back and forth. Or maybe it's because you have a senior level class and you want them using that document, but you also have kids that need that extra support. And so you want them to maybe you only assign this to those 3 or 4 kids where they have the original document like the rest of the class, but they also have all that information below to kind of help them guide through that reading and understand that context. So this is going to be a great way where it kind of breaks it down to their reading level. It gives them the highlights, the information, but in a more condensed, easy to read way. But the other thing that you could also do is I could go back and I could make this into a podcast. And so I'm going to try this again. In fact, I already did it for movie Magic. There it is. So I took that document and I clicked make it a podcast. And so maybe your students are auditory learners. Maybe this will be a lot easier for them to go through that way. And it's just going to make a podcast. It's going to summarize it. I'll play it for 2 seconds, if maybe. If you can hear it, great. I don't know if I have the settings right or not. If you don't, it's great. You can see it's going. So it's playing. It does a transcript below that. It highlights it for our students. So they need that for reading. They can do that as well. It's a very short podcast. You can choose whether it's 2 minutes, 5 minutes, 10 minutes, depending on your version you have. And then that would be just another way that we're accommodating our students with support. And those are my two favorite things with Brisk and Magic School. Or sorry, not yet, and Diffit.
All right. And since
All
I
right,
have
I will let you
already,
take over, Christy.
no, actually stay
Yeah.
on it because I've already done
Oh,
process. So we're actually back
oh,
to
you already
you
did
and
it.
you're going to,
Okay, that's
yeah,
right. Let's
like
go to
say,
product. Let's just keep
yeah,
the
go
ball
ahead and
rolling.
yep.
Okay. So this is one that it's new and Christy told it to me. It's this Magic Activities, but I've only got to play with it for a little bit, but I fell in love with it right off the bat. So let's just jump in there real quick. So if you're in Canva, which guys, everyone who is an educator gets it for free. But absolutely, if you don't have it, get it as fast as you can, use it for all the time. But on the left over here, under classwork, I can click that and go to Magic Activities. So what I did, I was a social studies teacher, and so you can go in there and click Magic Activities, and you're going to give it a grade level, a subject, but also what's the purpose of this assignment. So it's not just going to spit something out that's not specific. It's going to say, am I using it for understanding? Am I using it to apply that knowledge practically? Or am I trying to analyze that information or even evaluate? So you can kind of pick and choose why you want to use this. And so what I did, I picked early Texas colonization. And so I just put that in there, early Texas colonization, and it spit out multiple. In fact, let's just do it real quick so you can see the whole process. Go back to classwork and create. Come on. I did the wrong thing somewhere. Let's try it again. There it is. Magic activity. All right, let's do early Texas colonization. Nope, I didn't spell it right. That's okay. It knows what I'm talking about. Colonization. All right. And so I'm going to pick seventh grade because I know that's seventh grade. We're going to go social studies, or let's just do history. And let's do analyze. I'm going to generate that. It's going to use AI to start building out some lessons, but it's not going to just build out one. gonna build out 3 to 6, and you can kind of choose what you want to do. And so you can do one, two, three, whatever you like. So you can click on them, view them. What I really love about those is it's gonna give kids choices. They're gonna be able to choose what clicks in my brain. What's the best way that I know how I can convey my knowledge on this subject. So I can click a couple of them. I can generate more if I want to. But once I generate that, it's going to create kind of like a choice board. If you ever use Jamboard, it kind of looks like that a little bit. Let me just click on one I created earlier. So these are the assignments. I can choose to use one of those that it generated, or I can use 3 or 4 if I wanted to, and I can add all those in there if I want to. So let's click on one. Let's zoom in a little bit. And so this is going to be like the teacher view. The student view will be locked down a little bit better, but it's going to guide the students through an activity. Zoom in a little bit. And so the first thing that would be on the top of it, you got your teacher instructions. So you absolutely would delete that before you show it to your kids. It's going to guide them through activity. Here's our goals. Here's a group activity right here. But then below that, it's going to say, and this is really fun. You scroll over. All right. Choose this if you like explaining through creative writing and design. Okay, that's my thing. Cool. Let's do that one. Or choose if you like explaining through video and engaging content. You're going to allow those students to have the ability to kind of take control over their learning process. Hey, I'm creative. Numbers are hard for me. Those things are hard, writing things down on paper, but I love creating and making things, and I can share my knowledge through that. And I think that's a great way to do that. So it's really simple. The way I just did it is all you'd have to do. Just know what you're teaching. Pick a subject and let it run. Pick the ones that you like. You can always change these out, add new ones, take ones out. It's a great way to do that and just gives your kids choice. And I love that. And talking about choice, look at that segue. It was great. I'm going into choice boards. I know. So I'm in magic school and I just went to choice board. If you don't know how to get there, let me go back. I just typed in choice board. You can scroll down. There's like 4 million features in magic school, so it might take you a while to find it. So just type in choice board. So do that. And then I picked seventh grade. And then the one I did was I did Articles of Confederation. So just to save time and my embarrassment, I'm going to just paste that in Articles of Confederation. And so there's seventh grade Articles of Confederation. I can change that grade level to whatever I want. We can go ninth grade if we want to. If I have resources to add into that, I absolutely can. If I want to throw in standards, if I want to throw in just whatever material that I have that goes along with that, absolutely throw it in there for your kids. You can add more detail in if you want to, specific things you might want them to do. If you've got 4 or 5 things, you know your classroom, you know what we're good at, what we're not good at, and you want to give them those options, that's great. If not, just let it ride. Click generate. And I don't have kids, so I'm not going to let it ride. I'm going to just generate. All right. And so it just does that. It's a simple process. It's just going to create a choice board that you can copy and paste, throw it on your screen. You don't have to do anything with it. You can just share your screen and show it to your kids. It's just a great way of, like, I mean, look how many you created. I mean, it's like 10 of these things that I didn't have to do anything. I didn't have to come up with any ideas, and I can just pick and choose. I can say, oh, I love 5 of those. I'm going to show them those 5. Or I love every single one of them. And I'm going to let the kids kind of pick what they want to do. How can they share their knowledge with the rest of the class? That's a great resource. It's simple. It's easy. The 2 things I just showed you took us seconds to do, but it just takes that load off your plate and gives the kids a lot of options to share their knowledge. And so that will be my 2 favorite things in those.
Awesome. 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 So already we've, given our kids options for how the information itself, how they're taking it in and thinking about it, and now how they're creating it. So the last one, so let me share my screen here real quick. Yep, replace that screen. Desktop 2, here we go, is really all about that learning environment. So we can actually differentiate the room itself that our students are in. So many of our students need a little bit of help in that particular area. So I've got a few tools here that I think will help. The first is Classroom Screen. And if you haven't used Classroom Screen, it could be, I mean, it's amazing, but it can be a little overwhelming. There's a whole lot to it. Looks like I have managed to zoom mine in, and I'm not sure exactly how I managed to do that. So let's see. Oh, no, that's not working. Let's see if it'll refresh. Anyway, it has widgets built into it that let you pick all sorts of things, including a sound level. So it's one way that you
I
can
still wish I
actually
had this when I was a teacher. It's so
in
cool.
that you just turn you have to allow the speaker so it does hear it.
Hmm.
And of course now it's picking up me because I'm in my AirPods right now, so it's really loud. But you can decide how like what your max noise is like, and so you can play with that. And that really helps because some of our students need certain kind of environments especially during different kinds of activities. You can use this as well to create stations or groupings. So you can use a randomizer. And where all you do is you copy and paste a list of your students in, and you can, choose groups or call on people. So that response rates piece is in there. You can also have, and I really wish I had not deleted or just refreshed that the other day, but because I had already built this whole thing, you can embed soft music for work time. You could embed a brain break video from YouTube. You just go here to hyperlink right here. You could embed either one. If you embed it, it will show right there. If you have a hyperlink, you're going to have to click to it. It has its own group maker. It has just a simple like text box, so you could have instructions on the screen, which is great for students who maybe aren't great about hearing past about the first instruction. So you could actually have them already listed there for them visually. You could make a visual schedule for students who need that prompting. So there are so many options, and it would just live on your screen at the front of the room while your students are working. So lots of options there. You can also, somewhere there's a little work one, you can even tell them what kind of level, like, can they whisper? Can they talk to a friend? Is it a group activity? Just those visual cues can be such a help in the learning environment. The other, or the second one, is Flippity, flippity.net. I think this one's been around for a really long time. It used to be pretty, I don't want to say difficult, but cumbersome to use because you had to have certain templates and things, but it's getting easier and easier to use. And so you can use, this is actually one of my favorites. Let's see if I can pull up just the demo. I love this wheel of names, this random name picker, because not only do you have the single wheel, look at all your options up here at the top. If you want to make groups of 3, all I did was click a button and those groups are created for me. I can shuffle them, I can regenerate, I can make teams. So we need 3 teams in a day. You could even use this for like a seating chart if you needed to. Um, Sometimes that spinner is great though, just for a fast like call and response type situation. But they have so many different options here. Like, look at this, and even just a roster. So like you can have that. And then you can actually send it to other places, like to a tournament bracket. So you could pair people up and have a whole competition going. So we know academic or a friendly let's see, a little bit of friendly controversy. That competition can be really useful in engaging the students in the classroom. The third tool is actually Headspace. Headspace is free for educators, and if you didn't know that, I think it's a super great tool. There are quite a few tools that can be used in your classroom, but to be honest, teachers, it's a great tool just for your own mental health and your own mindfulness practices. But things that I think would be really good in the classroom for this kind of idea of learning environment is the breathing exercises right here. Sometimes our students just need a moment to calm down. And if you had this pulled up on maybe an iPad in a calming corner, students who need that moment to think, to process, could pull these up. They take less than like well, some of them are as little as 1 minute, and some of them are a little longer with like 5 minutes. And it's just a quick little video that they can play, and it tells them how to do this little box breathing. So they can just watch it for a few minutes, and it just calms them down, right? It's just box breathing. In 4, hold 4, out 4, hold 4. But it's got a nice little visual. They could be watching it, like I said, in a corner somewhere. You could do it whole class if the whole class needs that reset. But that's one way to kind of control that environment for students who need that as well. And then one last one that I found I just thought was really, really fun. And to be honest, I can't even figure out exactly who's created this, but it's great resources. So they have online fidgets. So you can do like an online version of a Poppet. Now, I don't think it's near as satisfying, and I'm all about fidgets. I've got them everywhere. So there's nothing wrong with a low-tech version, but there are some really cool tools on here as well, besides the little fidgets. If you needed some mindfulness practices or you wanted to utilize some calming sounds, or there's even a few like puzzles and games and coloring and things like that, but things that can help in that learning environment for students who might need to, calm that learning environment down just a bit. All right. And then the very last thing that we're going to talk about, because we are almost out of time, is and Brady mentioned this early, Digital Citizenship Week is coming up October 20th through the 24th. And we've linked a couple of resources here. Common Sense Media has done an amazing job of creating a curriculum of activities that you can use for this week. So if you haven't ever checked them out, I highly encourage it. And it's here you go. You've got elementary, middle school, high school calendars, and then you even have some events you can do. Here's the curriculum itself. Here's educator courses that you can take to learn a little bit more about how to teach digital citizenship. And so there's just a ton available. But these calendars here, if you look at them, they're just Google Docs, but you can pull them up. They're already linked to the lessons, linked to the fun stuff that goes along with it. You'll notice that it's just a quick version of 5 days of looking at these big ideas of digital citizenship. So I think that's pretty cool. All
Yeah,
right.
and wait for a podcast that's coming out in a couple of weeks. It might talk about that too.
It might, a little teaser there, but yeah, our
Yeah.
podcast is alive and well. And so we're excited to bring that in a couple weeks as well. So, all right.
Yep.
We'll take any questions if you have them. If not, happy Friday, and we'll go out and enjoy your weekend, get some rest, and we will see you again next time.
Yep. Thanks, everybody.